Hello, this is Dr. Zia Ahmed from Pakistan. Salam from Pakistan. Hello to you people and bonjour to France. Respected Dr. David Waterman, his colleagues, and all the managing team, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on the theme of migrations and new spaces. Well, my pronunciation may be very hard, so apologies for that. Dear students, as you have seen that my topic of speech is Migration and the New Colonial Spaces, a critical study of Hamid's novel Exit West and Aslam's novel The Wasted Vigil. Today we are in a time when the meaning of migration has changed. According to the post-colonial theory, people used to migrate because of the effects of colonialism and post-colonialism. They migrated for a number of purposes, from periphery to the center. For example, from Africa to France or from India to England. But the purposes of these migrations did not cause much havoc in the lives of the people and did not cause any type of change in the territorial borders or any issues which are related to larger level of humanity. But today's migrations after post 9/11 have got new meaning. And these migrations are creating new spaces and new identities, or the mixed kind of identities. Today, my purpose is to highlight before you how this migration is causing these new spaces and new identities, and how post-colonial fiction, especially Pakistani fiction, is reacting to that, responding to that, and creating its own effects of the migration. But before we go further, let me give you one opinion that has been given by Kamila Shamsi in one of her novels, Broken Verses. She says that humanity was or has been in repose. But in reverse to that, now humanity is going on. It's migrating. When humanity was in repose, it meant that most of the events which were happening in the world were not causing the humanity to move on such a large scale as the humanity is moving today. At most of the spaces, humanity used to exist permanently and had so many sides of the identities going on permanently. But as soon as we enter into the post 9/11 era, we do feel that the humanity's repose is ending and it is going on and creating new troubles for mankind. And most of this is happening in the post 9/11 era. I think we should also take into consideration right now about different pictures which appear in the media of the West as well as that of the Eastern countries, that the pictures show a huge number of people are migrating from one country to the other and one space to the other, from one continent to the other. And all these peoples are not just one or two people, just one or two families. These people are larger groups of humanity, sometimes migrating from Asia to Europe, and sometimes migrating from Africa and from other parts of the world. And these people, pictures show that not only they are moving or migrating by one means of migrating, that means traveling, that may be air travel, they're also moving on foot, they are moving through water, and most of these people get destroyed on the way. Children and women get destroyed on the way. But whatever the refugees or migrants reach at the borders of the rich countries, they have to face a number of issues. And today, Donald Trump's making of the huge wall in order to stop the kind of migrating culture, that is the big example how these migrating hordes are creating new situations and new problems to be dealt with by the humanity largely or overall. I think these pictures will create a lot of thinking in our mind, but there is something else as well, which has caused not only the people to move, but also to move so fastly, so rapidly, and to create new issues. Like if we consider one of the opinion given by Confucius. Confucius said that when wealth is centralized, the people are dispersed. When wealth is distributed, people are brought together. It means perfectly showing us the role of wealth. If wealth is accumulated at certain places, definitely the humanity is dispersed as the humanity is dispersed today. So the policies of new liberalism and new colonialism are concentrating wealth into the hands of the few. And so, thinking in these terms, we can have a type of idea that humanity definitely has to move in search of different sources of satisfaction for money gaining, etc., etc. And as a result, people are migrating today from one part of the world to the other, and they are migrating in so huge a quantity and number that everything appears to be creating a new world of the migrants, and so the new phenomenons are being created. Today, I am going to discuss with you how migration is creating all that. All of us are quite aware of the colonial era as well as that of the post-colonial era. Colonial era and the post-colonial era created many migrations. For example, sometimes people migrated from one country, from their own country or the indigenous country, to the metropolis in order to get higher education. Or sometimes it was the type of political exchange. Some of the people migrated from there in order to have jobs in India or in Africa, for example, and some of these people migrated towards the metropolis or the masters cities or countries. Same was the case with some of the migrations which used to be forced migrations, and these migrations also expedited themselves because of the war. Or sometimes people moved for the sake of the better life which they can get in certain European countries. Then came forward that some people moved for the love of the master in order to become more near to him or in order to become more closer to him. They migrated, and so new colonial type of migrations also existed. But all these migrations didn't create that much problem. In certain pockets, for example, hybridity issues were created, linguistic issues were created, but they were somehow solvable. There were no new colonies based on the migrants. There were no new territories in the cities. Mostly the big cities absorbed the people who were migrating towards them. Your own country is the best example of that. There are many Africans who have migrated to your country, and so they have been absorbed. There are no separate communities existing, but this flux of the migrants, that is causing the huge issues, and so is creating the huge issues to be dealt with. So that is the kind of reasons people used to migrate, and post-colonial theory says that this is the migrancy trope. And the same migrancy trope has been discussed by Cara Celano, one of the great critics who wrote one of her books, Contemporary Pakistani Fiction in English, in 2010. According to her, the concept of migrancy today has changed. She says that just 20 years ago, the concept of migrancy was just normal, as I talked already, but now it has its own repercussions. She calls it non-conventionalized usage of migrancy in the discourses. According to her, it is no more the matter of translating certain knowledge. It's no more the matter of hybridity. It's no more the matter of the people encountering each other, but rather this is the brutal encounter which is causing an irony of migrancy, and so this brutal encounter is resulting into certain new perspectives which were not predetermined. They are causing and creating new perspectives. We need to go into the fiction, the post-colonial fiction, in order to find out how this kind of response is coming from the great writers of the post-colonial fiction, especially the Pakistani fiction writers. In order to understand all that, I have selected the text written by Nadeem Aslam under the title The Wasted Vigil, and the second text is Exit West by Mohsen Hamid. Let me introduce first of all to you Nadeem Aslam. He is London-based writer, and he has been writing on Pakistan, and he's a Pakistani writer. So whatever novels we may pick up from him, we may be able to find some type of Pakistani culture there. But the novel that I want to discuss with you from him is The Wasted Vigil, and that novel has its own way of portraying of the things. It's not Pakistan, it's not Pakistani people in general. It is the war-torn Afghanistan where almost all the humanity is converging. For example, English people are coming there. He has shown the USA people coming there. In the same way, some of the Russian people are also coming. So through these arrivals, he wants to show that this is now the reversal of that migrancy. When the people used to migrate from Asia to Europe or to America, now Americans or the English people are migrating back towards Afghanistan, and they are developing such a huge relationship with Afghanistan that it seems as if it has become a type of resting place for them. But you see, all this has happened only because of the wars that are going on, or they have been going on in Afghanistan for a long time. And these are the wars which have caused these white race people, or the European people, let us say, in order to visit this country, and not only to visit but also to stay there for some time. For example, in this novel, On page 5, Nadeem Aslam says that one woman whose name is Lara and she's from Russia, let me quote from the text. She says, the writer says, she experiences how the night is transformed into the day by filling the light of the sun into all the dark recesses. She feels pleased at this scene. Now, this is the scene in Afghanistan. The Russian woman is feeling pleased because she has been living for a long time in search of her brother. She has been trying to search her brother in that country for a long time. It is the war, it's the fighting of the war which has brought her there. So that is the migration that takes place from Russia to Afghanistan, not the same type of migration that used to take from Asian or African countries for the higher studies. It means that some kind of connection is established between Lara and Afghanistan in the Afghan land. Similarly, on page 6 of the book, the writer says, I quote, her host name is Marcus Caldwell, an Englishman who has spent most of his life here in Afghanistan, having married an Afghan woman. No, the issue of marriage is also there. There's some people migrating from the west or the white world side or the Russian side, they come in Afghanistan, they marry. So this marriage bonding creates a new word for the people who come from the white world and the person who marries to them. And as a result, new kind of bonding is created. And this new bonding, because of the migration, as an effect of the war, is causing even more new troubles. That if a woman marries to an Afghani person or an Afghani person marries a white European, what would be the consequences of that? What kind of new languages or what kind of new hybridity and what kind of new spaces would be required for such people? So this is raising the question when we see that somebody is marrying a Russian or a Russian is marrying the Afghani people. Same is the case on page 7 and page 10 of the novel The Wasted Vigil. For example, I quote, the writer says, the process of bonding is not one way, rather it is two way, because see, the writer is claiming that Marcus was loved by the Afghan woman. So it's not just one way case that Marcus should be loving an Afghan woman. The Afghan woman also equally loved him. So this love is also now transculturalizing itself. It's not just remaining in one country. It's not remaining with one nation, one community, or one type of people. It is expanding its horizons from one community to the other, regardless of the skin color, regardless of so many other issues. It's all happening and going on like that. Similarly, we also have another character in the same novel, Katrina. And that Katrina is a doctor. She also is marrying a very much Englishman. And that Englishman says when he marries this woman, very beautifully, the writer portrays that this Afghanistan, the country, has come as a dowry for him when he marries Katrina. So that's the type of love bonding which has been created, and the new word, new people have been created, new issues have been created. This thing in The Wasted Vigil has been portrayed by Nadeem Aslam, but we need to go one step ahead, and we will be able to better understand if we talk about Mohsin Hamid's novel Exit West. In this novel, we have two characters, one young woman, other young man. The name of the young woman is Nadia, and the name of the young man is Said. Both of these people have been shown to be living in a country whose name has not been told, whose identity has not been told. It means that from the very beginning, these characters need to find out their own identity, and for this purpose, they need to move about or migrate to some other area, and their migration is just the migration of the day as it is taking place. For example, the writer tells us on the page 26 of the book by saying, I quote, the refugees had occupied many of the open places in the city, pitching tents in the green belts between roads, erecting lintos next to the boundary walls of houses, sleeping rough on sidewalks and in the margins of the street. So these are the margins of the street, actually, where the people have started to live, where the people have started to construct new cities, which are not the concrete cities. These are the cities created out of the tents or the lintos or other things which are the belongings of these refugees and migrants. So they are causing the new population, the new community, as it has been shown. And well, they have left their identity behind, and now they are in search of new identity. They are in search of the new spaces to be created. As a result, new spaces are happening, new things are taking place. Similarly, Mohsin Hamid in his novel Exit West continues, and he tells us that because of the mixing up of these people who have come from different parts of the world, say certain Africans are there, certain Asians are there, Chinese, Japanese, or the Indians, for example, and then the Arabs may be there, or some people from the other Asian countries like Vietnam or the kind of Thailand, etc. They all these people combine together. They live together in one community, the community of the migrants. And so you cannot define them that these people are of brown color or that of white color or that of non-white color or what they are. They are a type of mixture. multi-dimensional colors are quite visible. You can say sometimes the tea color or the coffee color or the colors which combine together in order to give a type of sense that the special colors are available there. So it's really difficult to find out their identity or fix their identity. It is only because the mixing of these brown people together, different hues of brown color are visible. Well, same is the case with the linguistic experience. The languages which these people speak, for example, Arabic or Persian or other languages, these languages are not the part and parcel of everyone's life. They don't know English altogether. So they are also creating a type of trans-languaging. I mean, creating new language which is understandable by everyone. No, it is transcending itself beyond the concept of French language or Francophones or the English language or Anglophones. It's creating a new type of language which these people can understand, and possibly this linguistic concept is reaching everywhere. That the writer is trying to say that because of their entry, Nadia and Said's entry with the group of migrants is causing these kind of troubles and issues, which may be linguistic issues as well as social and political issues. Mohsen Hamid further goes ahead and talks about something very special on page 158 of his book, and says that right now it's a possibility that not only new communities and new spaces will be created, and the possibilities that new nations possibly may be created, the new migrant nations may be created. So possibly history is repeating itself as the migrants from Europe created new different states, different areas, discovered different areas of the world. Same possibly is the case right now, that these migrants, empty-handed as they are going to discover new spaces as well. And as a result, new repercussions and new results would be there. In Exit West, Mohsen Hamid has summarized all this phenomenon very beautifully by saying that Said and Nadia felt that whole the planet is moving. He says in his book that south is moving towards north, north is moving further towards north. As a result, whole the globe seems to be moving. And this moving shows that whole the humanity is moving. As a result, the migrants are just like whole humanity. They are moving all over the globe, maybe in search of better life, maybe in search of or something else. They may be moving, but they're still moving because of the war, because of the other problems of the world, economic problems, for example, social and political problems, for example. This migrant number has increased so much that we can say that the whole of the humanity is moving right now. So in that way, Nadia and Said become the representative of that humanity which is migrating, of that humanity which doesn't have exact or fixed identity, linguistic, social, political, whatever it may be. They're all in search of that identity. And they will be having a type of confused identity, because on the one hand, they will be constructing their new identities, and somehow they will be remembering or memorizing or reminding themselves of the identities which they have left in the past. So a type of clash will be there, and as a result, third space will have to be considered. Third space identity will be very much important for these people. So as a result, new spaces have come into being, and they have their own issues. So what I find out of my research is that migration of the humanity is more than ever. It has increased in this age. And the causes are mostly the war or the terror, war on terror. And as a result, we have the problem of new identities, the third space identities or third space communities. And we have also the post-colonial fiction, which is responding towards that, as we have seen in Mohsen Hamid's Exit West, and that we have also seen in the novel The Wasted Vigil by Nadeem Aslam. So these are my findings, and as a result, I have seen, and I can conclude in these words by saying that Nadia and Hussein are the representative characters who have started their move, and they move in different parts of the world. Ultimately, they reach in London, and these are the very people who create, along with other migrants, London Hello. London Hello is the type of area in the novel which is not in the main city, and it's out of the boundary of the city, and as a result, a new city is being created by these people that is called in the novel as London Hello. So who can say that almost in all metropolises of the world, we will be having in future new cities which may be called hellos of these cities or the new suburbs of these cities, and so there will be new issues, new problems, and that is why migration is called the third space, which is definitely being felt by all the fictions of the world. And Mohsen Hamid's novel, as it makes these Nadia and Said as the representative of humanity, and as a result, humanity represents them as well. So that is why these people, the migrant people, the identityless people, in search of the third space, they are there, and as a result, we can say that humanity is moving constantly. So these were all my speeches. I hope that you have understood a little bit of all that, which I tried to. There may be certain deficiencies as well, but whatever the case may be, thank you Dr. David Waterman, for giving me the chance to speak in your country. I couldn't, reach in your country because of my official issues. However, it's a good way and a very positive way to convey my message to the students there. So thank you very much, the students who have listened to me. Thank you very much, the faculty, the honorable faculty. And overall, thank you very much, Dr. David Waterman, for giving me the chance. Thank you very much. That's it from me.